Take Ireland, for instance. In July, I did a radio show for the Irish Republic on their by internet radio. It was supposed to be a 20-minute spot, lasted 2 hours and 45 minutes. When I got off the radio, the next day my phone rang, and it was the Irish Parliament called me and said, could you write a constitution for us? And they said, how much time do you need? 3-4 months, they said. I said, how about tomorrow afternoon? He said, you're going to do a constitution for us in one day? He says, yeah. I says, I'll deliver it to you tomorrow. It'll be 59 paragraphs long. And I did. Overnight, I wrote them a constitution, supplied it to the Irish Parliament. They took 2 days to pore over it, voted on it unanimously, took it to the London Parliament, and London Parliament pored over it for 3 days. And in August, I think it was August 2nd of 2011, Ireland received their independence for the first time in 660 years from England. 2 days after that, Queen Elizabeth was on BBC announcing that all United Kingdom constitutions were null and void because I syntaxed them. She pulled my passport for New Zealand and Australia, so I syntaxed their constitution disqualified the United Kingdom worldwide. When they pulled my Canadian passport, and I syntaxed the Magna Carta. It was sold at Christie's of London for $6.7 million as a historical document with no value. When the United States Congress, Senate, Legislature, and Supreme Court gave me a hard time here a couple of years ago, I syntaxed the Constitution of the United States of America, wrote a new constitution for the United Nations. And now the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, and the Declaration of Independence is going to be auctioned this year in Washington, D.C., because it's a historical document and has no value. I sleep 3 hours a day. I didn't sleep for 8 years completely. For those who don't know, I died on December 3rd, 1975. I had my right kidney removed. Both of my adrenal glands were surgically removed by a South Korean doctor in an operation. I had gotten sick. My right kidney was killed. I was caught in the 1968 riots in Milwaukee, and they kicked my right kidney like you tee a football off 7 times. I got pinned down by 8 boys. After I got out of work, I had arrested one of them for shoplifting. I worked at Sears and Roebuck. I was 18 years old. So his little gang of guys jumped me when I got out of work at 9 o'clock at night, and they tried to kill me. They killed my right kidney. And it took 7 years before it finally knocked me down. Even though it was dead inside me, my body had created a callus around the kidney. It was about the size of my fist, and it was just black tissue. Because of the poison leaking into my system, it created a super immune system fighting this poison on a full-time basis for 7 years. When they removed that, the doctor, who had never operated on a human being before, cut my right adrenal gland out with it because it's attached to the kidney. Then he thought he was supposed to remove my left kidney, which was healthy. So he cut that in half and took out my left adrenal gland and half my left kidney. Well, it left me, I went into anesthesia shock, and I was flatlined. I died on the operating table. They couldn't jumpstart me, and I wound up in a morgue, cut in half, with my heart hanging out of my chest for 35 minutes without a heartbeat. I mean, it's in plain view, the coroner and the nurses down there. And then as soon as they signed my death certificate according to the coroner, they had an exact time and location. So whatever the future event took place, they had a recording of an individual in a morgue at an exact point in time with an exact match, and I was jump-started. My heart started beating, and they rushed me back upstairs, and they put me back together. I woke up 2 hours out of surgery and stayed awake for 8 consecutive years, going to school full-time and working 2 full-time jobs. I walked out of the hospital in 72 hours. Recovery time is 2 weeks for the loss of a kidney. I walked out in 72 hours. So I was born on September 17th, 1949, and I haven't aged in 35 years. I stopped aging when my kidney... See, what happens is, 2 years ago in London, they discovered the gene that causes aging in the human being. When I died when I was 25, my aging genes and my cells died also, and my DNA, according to what the doctors have been able to surmise. So my aging gene, because it's gone, I stopped aging at the age of 25. So when I showed up in China, they met me as a returning ambassador to China, and I was put in the presidential suite at the Bird's Nest, which is the Olympic Village in Beijing, for 10 days with a chauffeured limousine at the state's expense. But then what they wanted me to do was syntax. The new cell phone is transparent aluminum, 3 by 5 inch screen, 3D holographic. It has a 200 lume video projector. And then when you set it down, it has pop-up, AirTouch keyboard, just like Minority Report. Really state-of-the-art stuff. And it's not a 4 gigabyte, it's 1 terabyte. We're talking 128 gigs on a 20 nano chip to a terabyte for efficiency, memory. The 200 lume is in high-resolution Blu-ray, and it puts out a 4-foot screen. Set it down next to your computer, it talks to your computer, transfers all the information from your computer into the cell phone, and puts it up on a 4-foot screen. It also has a 2-inch by 2-inch transducer. It's called a subspace transducer. It's a microphone, it's a speaker, and it's also an antenna. Has a 38-mile range, can operate 100 feet underground, underwater, can read minerals up to 100 feet underground because it works in subspace. Now think of the hydrogen atom. You have an electron, you have a proton. This goes into space between the electron and the proton. As you know, all objects that we touch are held together by atoms. Atoms run on electromagnetics. But this operates in the space between the atoms and the electrons in subspace. Therefore, it can transmit 38 miles between towers and also operates underground. So this is the next stealth technology. That doesn't exist anymore with this new technology. The military's had this for 12 years and it's been declassified because all the other militaries in the world now have it, so they're going to make it available to the public. So So this is going to be the new cell phones coming out. The Chinese government invited me to be there. We had the guy that developed the subspace technology back in 2000, Michael, and Joseph was a Nikola Tesla electronics genius. Took me 8 hours, write 1,860 words in quantum, and restructure it. So every sentence was certified mathematically frontwards and backwards. So when we went ahead and we brought this patent back the next morning, we had 2 3-star generals, 1 2-star general was flown in. We had 5 electronics firms, 3 translators, and the 5 presidents from the electronics companies. And they said, and there was 1 nuclear physicist from Beijing also, as I've got a 4-year background in nuclear physics, because I was with the Polaris submarine program for nuclear degeneration of steel when exposed to plutonium for reactors. I did the work on that. They came back and said it would take 4 months to do a translation. I did it in 8 hours. Then they said, can you write it in Chinese? I says, well, I don't speak Chinese, which is, as you know, symbols compared to our alphabet. I don't speak it, read it, or understand it, or write it. So I got on Google Translator, and word by word, it took me 1 hour to do 1,860 words. And I rewrote it in quantum Chinese, frontwards and backwards. So in 2000, we educated the entire planet banking industry, and we gave them all of these 115-page bank treaties written in quantum grammar. It took us 7 years to put together. This is a 32-year program, by the way, that I've been working with personally. And been the architect of this whole thing to change the entire planet from a world of verb into a world of fact. So no one can ever go to war again. Now, what's important about all this is that mankind has been throwing stones at each other because of international communication treaties, because miscommunications. There is a spacecraft that has melted out of the ice in Greenland. As you know, the North Pole has melted completely. You can go from London to Moscow or to Russia by going over the North Pole now. All the ice cap is gone. Well, the spacecraft that is anchored in the center of Greenland created the last ice age 50,000 years ago. It's 55 miles wide, 300 miles long, and 2 miles high. The people that lived in it were called the Mois. It's a weather machine.